Hello, I'm Joe Kearns, and I enlisted into the National Guard in 1971, and my training was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and from there I went to Fort Lee, Virginia for my MOS training, and got out of that, and then so the National Guard, you serve 6 years. Weekend warriors. You have 1 weekend a month that you meet for training. In the summertime, you go for a 2-week time of camping in another state somewhere. It's the real world, the real deal there. I mean, it's eating mess rations and doing work out in the field and so forth and so on. I enjoyed my time in the National Guard. I was glad when it was over with, though. But still got friends to this day that I met in the National Guard, and enjoyed that. But I'm proud to say that I did serve, and I wouldn't take anything for my service to my country.
Well, thank you, Joe, and we thank you for your service.
I'm Johnny Allman, and I served. I got in the National Guard right after high school. 1965. I was in for 6 years.
And Johnny, this is a magazine that was given to the guardsmen. Was it a monthly magazine?
Yes.
And see, that it's called the Tar Heel Guardsman, and turn it around. And that right there is Johnny Allman. Sleep well tonight, because we know that during that time that the guardsmen were the ones who were here on our land protecting us. And we thank you, Johnny.
Hello, my name is Steve Hedgepeth. I served in the North Carolina National Guard for 6 years from 1965 to 1971. My active duty training was in Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was assigned to National Guard unit at Red Springs, North Carolina. My job was a Jeep driver. I was with reconnaissance. That's what I was trained in. And of course, during the time I was in, there was a lot of racial unrest in the country, and we were called on to help maintain curfew and other things for the police.
Was there anything that really impacted you during the time that you were in?
Well, that would be more than anything else, standing on the street in a bad section of Wilmington with a loaded M1 rifle all night. So that's something that was important in my mind.
Yeah.
I have a lot of little things maybe.
Well, I thank you, and we thank you for serving, Steve. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Wilford Udon. I joined the Army National Guard in Manchester, New Hampshire. I was 17 years old at the time, and I ended up going to basic training in Fort Dix, New Jersey. Did my training there. Then I got transferred to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is the artillery unit, and came back, and I was in a week back. I ended up going for 2 weeks at Camp Drum, New York for training again, and then returned to Manchester, New Hampshire, and I was there for 30 days. And we got a notice that we were activated by John F. Kennedy, and we landed going to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and we spent 10 and a half months there getting ready to go for the Berlin crisis. And the president got everything worked out that we got discharged and sent back home. And I got to meet my wife in that time, and we got married, and had my first child, and I spent 5 years in the Air National Guard.
Okay, thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. My name's Jim Owens, and I was in the Navy from 1961 to 1965. I served on the West Coast. I was on the 7th Fleet flagship, the Oklahoma City. I was on the 2 destroyers, the USS Sullivan and the USS De Haven. I was in the Tonkin Gulf in Vietnam and served 2 tours overseas. That's about all I did.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your service, and thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Monroe Kid, U.S. Navy, was in for 6 years, was in during the Vietnam era, was on land for a year, have never been on the ship except for 2 weeks training.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service, Monroe.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Roger Prichard, and I served in the U.S. Navy from 1958 until 1962. And the only day I ever laid out of school was, or stayed out of school, was to join the Navy in April of 1958. And I always knew I would serve in the military. And I think primarily because of the influence of my uncles and who served during World War II primarily. But I was on an aircraft carrier and spent a lot of time in all kinds of places all over the world. And thank you.
I'm Ron Bennett. I joined the United States Navy in 1968. I pulled 2 Mediterranean cruises on the USS Independence aircraft carrier that had 5,200 men and approximately 100 aircraft. I also spent 21 months in Key West, Florida, and which was really good duty. I was a mailman down there, and then I had 11 months at Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I really had good duty while I was in the Navy.
Thank you for your service, Ron.
Thank you.
I'm Stephen Law. I served in the United States Navy from 1966 to 1970. I'm very thankful. Here is a copy of my book. Here's the picture of my ship, and here is the picture of my group that I worked with. And here is a chronology of the cruise, the last one I was on. There was a lot of things that took place while I was doing that, while I was there. We were in Vietnam for 6 months in this one. And as far as pictures and stuff go, I have a picture that was taken when I was in the boot camp. And then I have my service medals I have. I'm thankful for all the people who served in the time I did, and other ones that are still serving right now. We need to be thankful for the military that we have right now. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Steve, for your service.
My name is Bonnie Davenport. My husband, Stephen, served in the Navy back in 1945. He entered the service at 17 years old, just after high school. And he went to he had his basic training at the Great Lakes facility. Then he went to the Western Pacific area. He served on the ship, the USS Bairoko, and he went to the Northern Mariana Islands in the Western Pacific, specifically on Saipan. Okay. So then he was discharged from the Navy when the war was over. I'm proud that he served. I didn't know him at that time, but he was always happy to have served in the U.S. Navy.
Thank you.
I'm Cleve Beasley. I served in the United States Navy. I went in 1964 and got out in early 1968. I served the whole time on the same ship. It was the last ship that was built in the Brooklyn Navy Shipyard in Brooklyn, New York. We were up there for 4 months, and it was during the time that the World's Fair was in New York, so we was able to attend the World's Fair at the same time as Liberty, part of our Liberty Call. I really cherished that. I became a BT, a boiler tender, so we operated boilers, the main engine boilers, steam boilers for the main engines, and also we done maintenance on the boilers as required.
Well, Cleve, we really do thank you for your service.
I am Mary Cordray. My husband and I, Frank, served with the Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary of the Air Force, and we did our training at Pope Air Force Base in Fayetteville, North Carolina most of the time, and got our training there at Pope Air Force Base. And we had to attend classes twice a month. Each month we would go, it was usually at nighttime, and have our classes, and then we had to go back home and we go till the next time.
Teaching you how to take care of the cadets on the Air Force Base?
Right.
Okay.
They had no training. They came from school, and we more or less taught them their instructions and so forth that they had to follow. They could only do so many things. There were places they could not go, but most of the time it was right there all together, and they were able to learn it all together and help each other.
And your son was enlisted in the United States Air Force, and he was in for 24 years.
Right, he retired from the Air Force.
I bet. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with us today.
Well, I'm glad I was able to serve and do a little bit for the country, but
Yeah,
I don't feel like that I did very much. But,
oh, I bet those cadets that you took care of believe that.
well,
They
I
think
hope
you
so.
did. Yeah,
I hope so.
thank you.
My name's Tom Frazier. I served in the U.S. Navy from 1970 to 1972 on the USS Kittiwake, which was a submarine rescue ship, ASR-13. I actually served into the Mediterranean Sea area, and then we also worked off the whole East Coast with ballistic submarines testing nuclear missiles, and all the way from Maine to Florida. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Tom. My name is Bobby Frazier, and I would like to honor two people, important people in my life that served our country faithfully. I have several aunts, uncles, cousins that served. I have an aunt, Eiladine Filer, who was the first full-bird colonel, a woman, in the Army. She was a nurse. She's buried at Arlington National Cemetery. But I also have my dad, and this is when him and my mom got married, and he was in the Navy then. He served the Navy for 20-some years, and with us kids as tag-alongs throughout the United States as he fulfilled his career for the United States Navy. My son, Sean Erickson, was in the Marines for 4 years, and then moved over to the Coast Guard to finish his career and retired after 21 years in the military. Very, very proud of both of them, of what they accomplished and how they served our country. Thank you.